We welcome you to Blues Game Day Live alongside Kelly Chase, Darren Pang, right here at the United Center in downtown Chicago. Chase, how are you feeling this morning, buddy? After finding out the news last night, San Jose wins that game, and maybe there's a little more bounce in the step here for this game against Chicago.
It's funny how you cheer for other teams, and you're watching a game, and you're like, wow, this could end up being in favor of the Blues. It was the most important game of the season last game, and the Blues let one slip. Yep. Well, guess what? Tonight, most important game of the season again, and the Blues have a real opportunity now. I mean, win a hockey game going, it certainly helps your cause for what you got to do in Colorado. Doesn't shorten anything on what you got to get accomplished, but I got to tell you right now, it's a lot better situation and a doom and gloom that you felt the other night when they let that one slip.
Interesting scenario, though, isn't it? That the Blues here, game 81, I've never seen it so that maybe game 81 is meaningless. And it all falls down into game 82 tomorrow night in Colorado. Though, all that being said, though, it doesn't mean that getting a point out of this hockey game or winning and getting the full 2 points. I mean, you want to take as much of that margin for error away as possible heading into tomorrow night. But that is quite possibly the scenario. This one could be meaningless.
Well, it's not because it'll help you in your shootouts and your rows and stuff like that. So it actually is. It'll force the Colorado Avalanche to play against you in a win situation in regulation or overtime. So you got to look at it like, hey, we got to get back on a roll, and you got to feel good about your, getting your confidence back and all that, because Colorado's been outstanding here in the second half with all the injuries they've had. They really have been outstanding. So for the St. Louis Blues right now, focusing on tonight, redeeming themselves, getting rid of the demon. And getting back on track is important. You
were at ice level for the last game that was nationally broadcast, but doing it on the KMOX side. And the Blues have only lost one game all year long, leading after 40 minutes, which they did, and looked like they were in pretty good hands. What things do you think, Chaser, as you saw at ice level, that the Blues will have to clean up here for a game like this in that same situation?
They had a high panic level for some reason, and it was just odd. I didn't feel good after the second period for some reason, but they let the Chicago Blackhawks hang around. Mm-hmm. They had opportunities to close them out 4-1, make it 5-1 even. They didn't score on some breakaways. They didn't score on some shots right close in the paint where they had rebound opportunities and didn't show patience with it. Mm-hmm. And then they started bobbling the puck in their own end of the ice. So instead of coming up as a unit, and I say this to you all the time, if you can see five guys in the TV shot, you know that there's good support. So for the St. Louis Blues right now, having that puck support, making sure that they're coming up as a unit, and again, just calming down and playing the game. Mm-hmm. Get the panic level changed, and I think they're going to be fine.
Well, an interesting scenario too with the Blues right now. Knowing that game in Colorado is so important. They do have an extra goalie here. Yeah. Ville Husso was named the American Hockey League all-rookie team goaltender. Yes. So he had a great season this year, his first full-time in the American Hockey League. So you got he and Carter Hutton and then Jake Allen. So we'll see what the scenario holds. All three will be on the ice here this morning.
It'll be interesting, as you said. I mean, is Ville here because maybe he gets an opportunity in a game, as you said, that might not make the biggest of differences, and it just put you in a must-win situation either way in regulation in Colorado? Or are they bringing him up and saying, you know what, we just want to have a look here, and we'll find out if we go into the next stage of the playoffs where we got a guy that we can consider. Jake wasn't real good in the last hockey game, and he knows that. And you want to root for guys that are good people and everything, but he's got to clean his game up as well, because that was a game the Blues should have won. Jake knows that. He's clear to that. But at the end of the day, the Blues have got to dig down and figure out what you got to do in the next one, and that's tonight.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any doubt too, Chaser, that Jake Allen has really emptied the tank on this run as well. He's played the most consecutive games that he's played in his career. He's played a lot of hockey, and I think a lot of the mistakes that maybe have been made were actually mental mistakes, fatigue mistakes. So maybe with a day off yesterday, a chance to regroup, finding out the news. Oh boy, Colorado lost. Now it's you get those legs back again, because obviously he was great for a long period of time, and yes, disappointed in the goals, the type of goals that he gave up in the last game against Chicago.
Well, I agree with you, and I think anytime you get a chance to hit the reset button, it's important. Yeah. But also, I think in Jake's case too, like it's not like he's looking at Ville Husso and going, "Man, I got to pick it up." Or he's a calm, he's secure in himself. He's got his contract. He needs to know that, hey, they're leaning on you. No matter who they put in the net, I think Jake's going to be a guy that's going to be important to get to the next stage, if they get to the next stage. So, no matter what happens in this hockey game, who they elect to go to, there's this good support staff around this team that knows that, all of those guys are important at some point.
Well, we've got a heck of a matchup here tonight. You've known Joel Quenneville for a long time. And that the game the other night was a game in which they probably didn't feel like they were going to be in that hockey game. And now looks like Jonathan Taves is going to return for this game tonight. This is their finale here.
Yeah, right.
So I mean, it should be great atmosphere and great opportunity for the Blues to maybe play with a little bit more jump in their step and maybe take the initiative in this hockey game with maybe a little less pressure than being on home ice in that scenario that they were a couple of nights ago.
Well, I thought they were in a great situation the other night. Now they're going to play with some desperation. And Jonathan Taves being back in the lineup is an important part of this Chicago team from a leadership standpoint as well. But you know what? The Blues have won a couple of games already this season where he's been in the lineup. They know they can win here in Chicago. Yep. So for me, watching this hockey game tonight, it's going to come back to who's desperate. These guys are out of the playoffs. They're playing loose. Mm-hmm. You got to finish them and stomp them out when you get the chance. Yep,
sounds good to me. And the power play's got to get on as well. The Blues power play's been on the low ride right now. I noticed in the last 3 or 4 games that lot of shots for the Blues. Chase, with this shooting percentage about 2.2%. So a lot of funneling, a lot of putting them on net. But
I think they did that better last game than they've done in a long time of getting pucks through and having second chances in front of the net. Alex Steen, once again, is the guy that's in front of the net that's taken up a lump of the, screening the goalie and the abuse in front of the net. And I like that scenario. I mean, they talk about possibly having him at the top of the power play, but, I don't know who's better in front of the net. Since David Backes left, he's kind of been the guy that's been sort of the resurrect to be in front of that net, and I think if the Blues are going to get opportunities, it's going to have to be him in that paint.
I like Thorburns' game in the last one.
I love the way
he was skating around. He was skating freely. Looked like a quick player getting on the hunt. Looked like a guy that said, "Hey, jump on my back, fellas! I'm ready to roll."
Played with that emotion every time he's in the lineup, and you got to respect that. So, so tonight, 7:30 game.
Oh, can't wait, big boy, huh? Fox Sports Midwest, 7 o'clock pregame, 7:30 puck drop on the 1,000-watt blowtorch at KMOX. 50,000-watt blowtorch.
There you go.
Are you kidding me? 50,000 watt.
I mean,
you can catch that game all the way in Saskatchewan for crying out loud.
Well, I guess on the combine.
Okay, buddy. Look forward to it, big fella. And thanks for tuning in here alongside Kelly Chase. I'm Darren Pang. You enjoy your day, everybody. Are you nervous yet?
I'm not.
Okay, me neither. See ya.